In this video, I'm going to share with you 32 advanced prompting techniques that I've learned over the years and that I use on a daily basis so that you can bring your prompting skills to the next level, either in business, in your day-to-day life, or in your workplace. So let's get started. Tip number one is whenever you are dealing with prompting, you want to specify what the role that the AI will play. So you want to say, you are an expert at marketing, or you're an expert at copywriting, or you're an expert at sales. After you define that, then you can ask it questions like, I want you to answer questions for me based on this role. Or you can say, you're an expert at marketing, and then state your problem, and then have it answer the problem. So one way is it creates a dialogue between you and AI. You're talking to the expert, and the other one is you're solving a direct problem. So by doing this, you get more specific answers, and the more specific the questions are, the more better answers the AI can give you. Tip number two, which is basically refining your question for clarity. Like if you ask the AI, tell me how to improve the marketing for my company. That's not very specific, right? Because like what company, which company? You know what I'm saying? So you need to be very precise with the question. You only get as good answers as when you ask it. A way better way to phrase it is, what are 3 marketing strategies I can do for my development technology company, Humanlike Digital? And then it can spit it out and give you better answers. Tip number 3 is asking ChatGPT to use a predefined framework. So when you do copywriting, there's different frameworks like PASS or IDA. So what you can do is you can go to ChatGPT and ask it, tell me all the frameworks for doing copywriting, or what are all the frameworks for doing marketing? And it'll list out all the frameworks. Then you can learn about what each one does and then choose one. Say you are a marketing expert, you use this framework, and then tell it to solve your problem. And it'll give you a way better detailed answers because now it has context, it has relevancy, exactly how to give you back the right answer. Tip number 4, ask the AI for multiple options. Don't ever just say, give me one domain name. Like it's just gonna give you one name and then it may not be right. By asking it like multiple options, so say like, give me 10 copywriting slogans for my company based on this. Now it will try different iterations, so it will give you a lot of ideas. And also the AI has a process called chain of thought, where basically the more time you give it to think and steps, the better the answers are. If you just tell it point blank, give me an answer, it will give you a surface answer. So by asking multiple options, you actually get more better answers by doing that. Tip number 5 is controlling the tone and the text style. So when you are talking to the AI, it uses very wordy words because that's what it was trained on, right? But you can change the tone of the email. You can say, use a more friendly tone or use a more professional tone. By doing this, it changes the way that the AI writes, and then you can take that and almost copy paste it into what you need to do. Step number 6, don't expect the first result from the AI to be good enough. You always need refinement, right? Even if you talk to a human, right? You ask a question, they might give you a surface answer and you're like, okay, I need to know more. So then you ask more questions, right? So why is the AI any different, right? The AI cannot read your mind, right? So after you get the first answer, you say, okay, that looks good. I want you to change these 3 things. And by doing that, you will get a way better answer and finally get the result you want. Tip number 7 is combining ideas. So what you can do is you can start talking about one idea and then have the AI explain it. And then you can talk about another idea in the same thread. The AI has memory of everything you talked about. So basically, you can talk about different ideas, and at the end, you can say, combine these ideas and make something else happen. The AI is smart enough to pull everything you need to give you like a combined answer versus you have 2 different chats for what you're talking about. Tip number 8, basically giving multi-step instructions. So a lot of times the AI, you can give it all the instructions at once, but then it'll give you, again, surface level answers for each one, right? So if you were to do it more strategically, you would say, all right, tell me what are the marketing strategies that people use in the market. All right, they tell you all these things, right? Then you can say, okay, my company does development. What does my company apply to these tactics? Which ones will work for me? So by doing this, you had it think through all the default information. Now you give it more specific scenario, and then it gives you more specific answers, and then you can go deeper and deeper. So just space out your questions and you get way better answers. Tip number 9 is to make the AI write more human-like. So if you want the AI to write more language that flows, there's a trick. What you can do is you can ask the AI to write it as if you're writing a journal entry to yourself. And by adding this to the end of your prompt, it suddenly will write it as if it's like telling a story. It doesn't use these weird words. It's one of the cool tricks that I've learned from writing marketing material. Tip number 10 is summarizing your meetings. So after you have a meeting, there's a lot of tools now like Fathom, Brain, and others, and Firefly AI, where basically it will take your transcription of your call. You can take that text, put it in ChatGPT, and then tell it, summarize this meeting or pull this information or take this and do something for me. Tip number 11 is if the AI is too wordy and talking too much, you can add the word no yapping at the end, or like give me back one specific word answer to the end of your prompt, and then it will give you shorter answers and exactly what you need. So that's a really good trick if you need very precise answers. Tip number 12, creating an action plan or a checklist. So a lot of times you have a lot of tasks that you're doing, or like you have a big problem, you're like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. You can have the AI give you an action plan on what to do, and once it gives you the initial plan, it may not be specific enough. So you can add to expand more and give more details, and then it can create your whole syllabus for you to learn anything that you want to learn. Tip number 13, if the AI is using too wordy words, another tactic you can use is saying, please use grade 8 English, or speak like Elon Musk. By doing this, you basically force the AI to use lower vocabulary than a grade 8 word answer. If you want the words to be more like direct and more blunt, you can find a famous person, and the way that someone speaks like that, then you can use that. So for example, if you want straight to the point and you want big words, then you can say Elon Musk, right? If you want blunt words and straight and use like more normal language, then you can say use Alex Ramosi. So those are strategies you can use to make sure that your content is proper English, that's lower level, that more people can understand. Tip number 14 is brainstorming. So the AI is really good at brainstorming ideas if you have your initial idea, right? So if you say, oh, I want to do a new business idea and sell, let's say, paper clips, right? Give me different ways that I can position this so that I can sell this in the market. So brainstorming, it's very good at brainstorming, and it can come out with ideas that you wouldn't even think of. Tip number 15, creating a GPT. So if you're using ChatGPT, if you're using the same prompt over and over again, you don't want to paste it in every single time. So you can create something called a GPT in OpenAI, where basically you can put in the prompt, put in the documents, and then basically you can talk to it as if it's a preset chatbot that will answer questions every time the same way that you want it every time. And this helps you speed the process. You can give it to someone to use, and it's very hands-off, very easy to use. Tip number 16, extracting key information from text. If you have a lot of text, like let's say 300-page document, you're not gonna search the whole thing, right? So you can pass this into the AI and have the AI pull out the points that you need, and they should be able to pull out the things faster than you can just read through the pages. So that's a very useful application of AI when it comes to large text. Tip number 17, correcting the tone of your emails. So let's say you write an email and you're like, oh, it's too aggressive, like I'm too angry here. So you can tell the AI, please change my tone so it's more professional, so that you can send off the email without having to put too much sticking power into it, but still deliver the results that you want. Tip number 18, content repurposing. Let's say you find an article online that you really like it, but you want to repurpose it for your own use. You can pass it into ChatGPT and tell it to rewrite the article, but add these things and change the style and change the tone and change the feel of it. And it's very good at that. If you were to do this manually, it's a lot of work. So the AI is really good at repurposing, summarizing, taking existing content and changing it to some other form. Tip number 19, role playing. So imagine like you're trying to do a mock trial. I'm a lawyer, I want to practice. So you can tell the AI, you or a lawyer, here's the prompt set, I want you to play this role and let's chat back and forth. So the AI is very good at role playing, and it will help you have like a role playing partner, even though you don't have one in real life, but you can practice with the AI. And you can even use the voice app on the phone so that it can actually talk to you back and forth. Tip number 20 is idea validation. I kind of touched on this a little bit before, but the idea is that let's say you have like a shower thought, oh, like I want to snowboard in Calgary. Then you can have it come up with ideas. So you can say, tell me 10 business ideas I can do with that, right? So it's very good at creating new ideas that you didn't think of. Tip number 21, optimizing SEO content. So let's say you wrote an SEO article and like you didn't add in the keywords. You can say, here's my article, add in these keywords and make it optimized for SEO. So this is something that no person would take a lot of time doing, but using AI, it's very fast doing it. Tip number 22, refining your question. Let's say you have a specific question and you want to say, I want to understand why quantum physics works, right? But then you can't really figure out a way on how to rephrase it so it's easier for people to understand. So you can have the AI rephrase this in different ways, and then you can use that to ask the question that you want to ask after that. Tip number 23 is creating legal documents that are like a draft. Like a lot of times when you want to go to a lawyer, like it costs a lot of money, right? But let's say you say, I want to write a letter of dissolution for a company. You can tell it, write me a sample letter, and for this state, for these signatures, it can create you the template, and then you can take it and you can make modifications And then obviously it's not a legal document yet, but at least it's something you can start off with. Tip number 24 is having the AI scrape website. So let's say you want to say, I want you to go to Washington Post and pull out all the news articles today and then give me a summary of it. So the AI has gotten better at going to a website, scraping the information. As long as it's not behind a login, it's still very good at scraping information, and then you can have it do tasks on that. Tip number 5 is analyzing the tone and the style. So let's say you wrote an email and you're like, I don't know, is this email too aggressive, or is it right for this audience? So you can have the AI pretend to be someone who analyzes the material to give you constructive feedback so that you can tweak it, right? Usually you would go to a psychologist, or you go to like a expert who's very good at linguistics, understands every single word. Well, the AI can do that for you now. Tip number 26, giving you a second opinion. Let's say you're really stuck on an idea, like, should I move to the US, right? Like, asking the AI to give you a second opinion is very important. Or let's say your friend has cancer and the doctor said this. Well, a lot of times the words is a lot of jargon words. You don't understand what it means. You can ask the AI to say, here's what the doctor said. Give me what is a second opinion of what they said. And then that will actually give you a different perspective of what's happening. Tip number 27, when you are coding, you sometimes run into a bug or an issue. You can take the issue, copy into ChatGPT, and it can give you an answer that may or may not be the solution, but at least it gets you there faster instead of having to look through all these different blog articles. Tip number 28, creating a customized template. Let's say I need to create a new template for my company for monthly financial reporting, right? You can say, these are the callouts, make me a template, and then it can create you a template on the spot, so you don't have to go into Excel and make it yourself. It can make it for you right on the time. Tip number 29, interactive tutoring. So let's say I'm trying to learn a topic and I get stuck. Well, you can change AI into like a role playing of a tutor and have it tutor you every question you have 24 hours a day, whenever you want, and just any question you have, it can spitfire back and forth with you until you get it. Tip number 30, coming up with brand names and domains. So a good rule of thumb for domains is you want to try to keep the domain name as short as possible, and you want to like maybe keep it as a noun and add like an adjective or verb before or after it. So you can put these rules into ChatGPT and then have it generate you like 50 names and then look at which one sounds good. And then if you like one, then you can refine this. Okay, make me more examples of this type of style. And then you can come up with new brand names. Tip number 31, scenario planning. So let's say you're like, we're in the woods, we're camping here, we have these many tools and this much food. Now you can tell it to, okay, what's the worst case scenario? What would happen? How do I handle this situation? How do I handle this situation? So it's very good as a scenario planner for you and handle those what if scenarios for you so that you can be better prepared when you're actually doing it in the field. And tip number 32 is having the AI create content for you. So let's say I'm trying to make a video like this, right? I can tell AI, make me a hook for the video and then give me some ideas for the content for the video. And then you can tell it, write me a script for the video, and then you can go use that and film a video. So that's a lot of tips. That's 32 tips. And hopefully you can learn this. If you learn something new, integrate it into your own workflow so that you can improve your prompting skills going into 2025. And if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe for more content like this and more tech news and tools that are coming out.